So, manifestation. That word is everywhere these days, right? And let's be real, a lot of the time it gets boiled down to some kind of cosmic vending machine. You just put in a wish and get what you want. Today, we're going to go way deeper. We're going to unpack the spiritual science behind it all. Because that's the big question, isn't it? When you hear that word, do you just think of, wanting something really, really badly? A dream job, a new car, finding the one? Is that all there is to it? Or, and this is the big idea we're exploring today, what if it's not some magic trick for getting stuff? What if it's a complete system for how you actually live your life? A way of being that totally transforms you from the inside out. All right, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we're moving past that whole wishful thinking idea to get to the real foundation, your inner state. Then we'll get into the 4 powers you use to create. After that, we'll talk about the 2 pillars that hold it all up, belief and patience. And finally, we'll get to the most powerful step, surrender. Let's get into it. Okay, let's dive right in, because, this is the one thing almost everyone gets backwards. The real starting point for manifestation isn't what you want on the outside, it's how you feel on the inside right now. We're all taught to think, I'll be happy when, right? This system flips that on its head. It says you've got to feel whole and happy first, and then the things you desire can actually come to you. And this right here is a total game changer. Think about it. When your happiness depends on getting something, it's always short-lived. You get the promotion, you're on top of the world for a bit, and then it just fades. That chase is stressful, and it creates this constant fear of not getting the next thing. But when your happiness comes from your state of being, from inside, well, that's sustainable. That's empowering. That actually creates freedom. And here's the best part. You don't have to wait for anyone or anything to give you these feelings. You can learn to generate them yourself. You can literally give yourself a hit of dopamine just by patting yourself on the back for your hard work. You can boost serotonin by genuinely feeling grateful. You build up oxytocin with self-love and real connection. And you get endorphins just by moving your body. You become your own source of happiness. And this is so important. This quote just nails why that inner work, that foundation, is absolutely non-negotiable. We've all seen stories of people who win the lottery and end up miserable. If you don't have that stable inner sense of self, getting everything you thought you wanted can actually be a disaster. You have to become the person who's ready for it. Okay, so now that we've got that foundation locked in, let's get to the active part. Once you're not desperately needing something outside of yourself to feel okay, then you can start to consciously use the 4 powers of creation. And listen, this is not just some random list of things to do. It's a very specific sequence, an energetic flow that moves from the inside out. It all starts with the spark of a clear desire. Then you add the fuel of focused thought, really seeing it in your mind. It gets even more powerful when your speech aligns with it. And finally, it all comes into the real world through action. So the absolute key here is integrity, total alignment. You can't be walking around thinking you're unworthy of love, telling your friends how there's no one out there, and then get frustrated when your actions on a dating app feel forced and go nowhere. If your thoughts, words, and actions are all over the place, you're just creating static. And this is such a critical distinction to make. It helps to stop thinking of yourself as this lone creator, trying to bend the universe to your will. Instead, see yourself as a co-creator. You're in a partnership with life. It's a dance, not a dictatorship. You do your part, and you let life do its part. All right, so to hold this whole thing up, you need 2 massive pillars. And man, our modern world tests these 2 things constantly: belief and patience. Your subconscious beliefs, they're like the invisible blueprint for your entire life. You can say you want wealth all day long, but if deep down your first thought about money is it's the root of all evil, guess which one is going to win? You've got to be brave enough to look at those hidden beliefs and ask, hey, is this actually building the life I want to live in? And then there's patience. Oh boy. I mean, we live in a world of instant everything, right? So this one is a really tough one for most of us. But this isn't about just sitting around and waiting for something to happen. It's an active, powerful state of trust. It's knowing you've done your part and now you're allowing things to unfold in their own perfect time. I just love this quote because it's such a perfect way to think about patience. It's like if you plant a seed in a garden, you don't go digging it up every morning to check on it, right? You trust the process. You know that the most important growth is happening right there in the dark, under the surface, just before the breakthrough. So, that deep trust, it leads us right into the final step. And this is probably the most profound, the most powerful part of this whole system. After you've done all the work, you have to surrender. Why? Because the one thing, the single biggest block that will just wreck the whole process, is fear. That tight, anxious feeling of, what if this doesn't work? That fear sends out the exact opposite signal of what you're trying to create. And surrender. Surrender is the ultimate antidote to that fear. It is not weakness. It's not about giving up. It's an act of incredible strength. It's being able to say, okay, I have done everything I possibly can. I have aligned my thoughts, my words, my actions. And now I release my death grip on the outcome and I give it over to a higher intelligence.
This says it all, doesn't it? That moment you finally stop struggling, you stop flailing and trying to control every little thing. You realize that life itself is there to support you. It's buoyant. You just have to let it.
So when you boil it all down, it's really about shifting your entire identity. So are you the lone creator, the one who has to control and force and micromanage everything, living in constant fear? Or can you step into that much more powerful role of the co-creator, the one who does their part with integrity and then lives in trust, detached from the outcome because your happiness is already a done deal? So let's just leave it with this one final question. Seriously, take a second and ask yourself, if your happiness was never, ever on the line, if you knew deep in your bones that you were going to be okay no matter what would you dare to create? That feeling right there, that's true freedom. And that is the real spiritual science of manifestation.